Lauri Markkanen has officially signed a 5-year, $238 million renegotiation and extension contract with Utah today, Wednesday, August 7th, which means he will not be trade eligible for the entire 24-25 season because he is not eligible to be traded for 6 months. And 6 months from now happens to be February 7th, which, Dan, is what?
The day after the 2025 trade deadline.
Which also, all this stuff means that he will not be a free agent come 2025, which we saw this last summer, this past couple of weeks. Not really a robust market in terms of guys who are on the open market, available for the taking, and willing to change teams. I think the most important thing I wanted to discuss about this here, because we've spilled a lot of ink on yahoosports.com. We wrote about this on Monday and gave kind of a full accounting for anyone who needs more info about what brought us here, all the trade talks that came and went for Lauri between Golden State and Sacramento and San Antonio and other teams on the periphery and what have you. I think the thing I saw the most online in reaction and response to my story on Monday was, why are the Jazz doing this when we need to tank for Cooper Flag? And I just want to, don't shoot the messenger, but the Western Conference is going to be absolutely loaded next year. And as great as Lauri Markkanen is, as much as he hasn't really had a full offseason in a couple of years, because last year, people may forget, and the years before that, he had to do like mandatory conscription stuff for the Finland and Finnish army. Like he was taking selfies with like war paint on his face and stuff like that. You just shout out Lauri. He's the man. But healthy now, those pictures that Utah posted, sending a couple of coaches and Keontae George out to work out with him, looking absolutely shredded. And people I know who have been on the ground, who have seen Lauri, have been like, yeah, this dude is shredded. Like, it's not just the camera showing you things. The Jazz aren't going to be good enough to compete for a position that's going to, outside of lottery luck or misfortune, like their pick is top 10 protected to Oklahoma City from a pass trade. It's going to be, I think, things would have to go pretty perfect from a winning standpoint for Utah to be in danger zone of that not happening. As good as Lauri is, there's going to be 7 first-round picks in the last couple of years on this roster. Like, as good as Keontae George has shown progress, like they're trying to move off of guys like Jordan Clarkson and John Collins. And yes, like Danny Ainge in Boston, when they were tanking along the side of the process Sixers and other teams, and all of a sudden he just made a trade for Isaiah Thomas and they're back in the playoffs. Will they be opportunistic as they were trying to be this summer? They tried to trade for Mikal Bridges. They've been in talks with the Atlanta guys about the 2 point guards there before DeJounte got moved to New Orleans. They were hoping to get people in the door and then say, hey, Paul George, we have a big 3. You want to make it a big 4? They didn't. So I would not be so alarmed if I'm a Jazz fan that paying Lauri and rewarding him and being like, we're going to build around this guy, even though they have the optionality, all the picks to go in and trade for anyone if they want to. I am still at this point, it seems way more likely than not that Utah's going to be in prime position to get that pick and have a chance at the number 1 pick and Cooper Flag come May 2025.
Yeah. Real quick 2 notes there is that even with Lauri Markkanen on the court, and as good as Lauri Markkanen is, in his minutes last year, the Jazz outscored opponents by 0.2 points per 100 possessions, according to Cleaning the Glass. That is about a 41 win team, about a 500 mark there if you're playing even. With him off the floor, they got outscored by 10.7 points per 100. So unless everything gets better across the board and he plays like 47 minutes a game, they're probably going to be like, if you're a 500 team with your best guy on the floor and you're like a 17 win team with him off, the average there does put you somewhere around like 30, maybe high 20s, low 30s. And with the flattened lottery odds and everything else we've seen, that's plenty bad enough to be good enough to get where you want to go. So there's no such thing as a guarantee of a number 1 pick in this league. But yeah, I think you're right to say that securing one piece of your future and then providing ample opportunity for the other pieces of your future to grow and take their knocks in real time, does not necessarily preclude the Utah Jazz from being in the running for what the major prize that they're looking for.
And all the young dudes will get better playing with someone like Lauri, to your point, of the on-off splits.